So today I'm going to be doing a Vintage Cube draft. So pack one, pick one. I looked for a little while before seeing the recall. Take power when you can. Other good cards are Vampiric Tutor. Pack two is really light on blue, so I had a hard time making a decision here on, what cards. Reading the only blue card in the pack, I didn't think it was very good. So it's important to leave myself open. I'm going to take the fetch land. It can be played in tons of blue decks. Pack three, again, just super light on blue. The most powerful card in the pack is either Exhume or the red-white card. But again, I'm just not seeing anything that leads me in any particular direction. So um, this is just yet another very hard pack because I'm trying to pick a lane. But I'm going to go ahead and take another fetch land. Displacer Kitten is not good this early, in my opinion. And then looking at this pack, again, just nothing blue. Whenever you see a Mox, take a Mox, except for the one with Metalcraft. That one you have to build around. All the other Moxes are good. Chrome Mox and Mox Diamond are both just snap takes. And then this pack, we're seeing Taiga, which is very interesting as I'm gesturing to my Diamond and my two fetch lands. Green-Red has a land sub-theme. If I get Red and 6 or Crucible, I can start trying to build around that. It's kind of abandoning my recall, but I'm hoping I can make something happen. And there you go. Immediately next pack, you get Red and 6 with two on-color fetches into Taiga. And then we get a Bestow guy. The Bestow guy is good with landfall. Again, I'm just kind of building this package. And then another weak pack, but Omnath is very interesting if I'm doing land things. I've never really drafted Omnath in Vintage Cube before. So on the back of this being a weaker pack, I take the Omnath, but I'm definitely not married to it. We see Chocobo, which just doubles land triggers. So, at some point you just decide to do the thing. This pack has Elvish Reclaimer, which you would think is the pick for the land deck, but I'm not Dark Depths. I'm not playing black. So I'm not very high on Reclaimer as a card. I think it's pretty bad. So I take the white sideboard piece against artifacts. This pack has Crucible. If I end up getting Strip Mine or Wasteland, that'll make the deck. We have an on-color Fast Land. Now, Fast Lands are not fetchable. So I am going to be keeping pretty close track of how many fetchable lands I have. I also got a Horizon Canopy. So I have two green-white lands that are not fetchable. So we'll be keeping track of fetches versus fetchables. Pack two, pick one is again just weak. No Moxes, nothing jumping out, no power. I'm taking a minute to think. I really do like Pest Infestation as a card. It's just good in so many matchups. You can always just pay 5 and make 4 bodies, and that's always fun. But if we're doing the land thing, just having a critical mass of fetch lands is super important. So I'll take a green fetch, even though it's slightly off color. This pack, I'm looking at Dak Faden. I haven't taken much that leans me blue. Except for Recall and Omnath are both splashes. And so to be blue, I feel like I need either some kind of dual land or this Birds of Paradise. And then speaking of dual lands, here we go, drop. So I have drop and Taiga with 3 green fetches. So blue, red, and green are kind of online. This pack I get Titania, which is perfect with my fetches. Again, I'm keeping my eye out for Strip and for Wasteland if I can find them. But that'll let me just, again, keep doing the land thing. This pack has Darcy, which is good. I'm not playing that many non-creature spells. It has Waterlogged Grove, which is not fetchable, so I end up taking a Triumph just to up my fetchables count. This pack is kind of in the same boat. I'm looking at the landfall double power trigger, and then I see that there's a Triumph that's on color yet again, and it has white tapped, which white seems to be my lightest splash at this point. Endurance is also very interesting here. It's such a good sideboard piece against Reanimator. but had to end up taking the Triome. This pack, again, just looking at it, there's a 4/4 haste for 4. That's just a way to win the game. So that's definitely something I'm looking at. There's Bobble, which is just a cantrip card. Frantic Search is one of the best cards in Vintage Cube, but my deck is super fair, so it's not exactly what I'm looking for. So I'll just take the 4/4 for 4 because it could win the game. Noble Hierarch is just a mana dork that taps for 3 of my colors. Force of Vigor is the only other card I would consider here, but Noble Hierarch is just too good at what it does. This is the first pack we saw in the Past Infestation Wield. It's just so good against artifacts. So many decks are playing them. It's just worth taking. I got a Trap in the Cellar, which is just a second copy of Crucible of Worlds. Then this pack's just weak. I'll put the sideboard, or the sideboard. Not too worried about it. Here is actually a really difficult choice. Channel, I'm not feeling because I'd have to draft around it. Lumberjack can let me cast some stuff early, but I decided to take the Canopy land. But again, we're having an interesting case of fetches versus fetchables. Pack 3, pick 1 is instant. Fast spawn. It's one of the best cards in Vintage Cube. Next pack, again, super instant. Strip Mine is what we're going to end up taking here because it just is so good with our Graveyard Recursion and our land stuff. But Nadu is just ridiculously tempting. Nadu is so good, even if you're not doing the Greaves thing. I take the strip. I don't have Greaves yet. So that's how that goes. This pack is much weaker than the one before. Hedge Maze is sticking out as a fetchable land. Our first Surveil land. The first Surveil land is important. But again, it's this tension between fetch lands and fetchable lands. We have 2 Canopy lands, a fast land or 2. So it's important that we keep up the fetchables count, which is why Hedge Maze would be a good pick here. The 3-color common fetch land from MH3 is also interesting, but that just is more tension. So we're going to take the fetchable land. Going into the next pack, we see Tifa Lockhart, which is good with the land thing, just, again, kind of staying on theme. Entomb this late is crazy. Kind of makes me wish I was playing Reanimator, because that's the best card in Reanimator. I'll take the Ballast, because I do have the sack fetch lands. I got Strip Mine. I have Ren and 6, just doing more of the same. Sylvan Safekeeper is super interesting, but that should wheel. And then, bam, we get Wasteland. So we have Waste and Strip, and we're just off to the races. This pack is interesting, because Prime Time can get Wasteland, Strip Mine, all sorts of different good stuff. Uro is just such value. But the Cub combos with Nadu if it ends up coming around, and that's kind of why I ended up taking the Cub. It's also such a threat. This pack, Eternal Witness, is interesting. Fabled Passage, my basic count seems like it's going to be low. I already have 12 lands, and I haven't put any basics in. So at most, I'll be playing 5 basics at this point. So Fabled Passage is almost out. I've seen Legolas's quick reflexes be good in tons of scenarios. And here we get Boseiju. And I'm talking about base fetches versus fetchables and all that, but Boseiju is just so good. I can channel it away, open important piece, get it back. And here we see that Nadu tabled. We have the Leopard for it. So we just have lots of good stuff going on. This pack, we take the Mutagenic Growth. You can Mutagenic Growth a Nadu, get a free trigger. It just is good. It's a free spell. It's good in so many scenarios. Safekeeper is not a card I'm super high on, but I took here again because it does great things. And then we got an on-color fetchable, which is just great. So looking at what it's recommending I play, I'm definitely not playing any swamps. Don't know why it's recommending I do that. But couple forests and a mountain. I'm not playing 2 fast lands, even if they are on color. But we're just going to go ahead and get into the first match here. First hand of the first match. It's looking just super slow. We're going to have to shift this one. This hand is great. It has Hierarch on 1, into either Leopard with 2 triggers on 2 or Red and 6 get back a fetch on 2. So turn 1, I'm probably going to end up fetching for Taiga and playing Noble Hierarch, which will give me green and red untapped for my second turn. So opponent is playing black and fetches on his first turn, so I have him on some sort of reanimator. I'm going to go ahead and get Taiga and play my Hierarch and ship it. Let's see. Reanimator does seem to be what's going on here. This is not the best reanimation target, but not the worst. I plan on making a video ranking all of the different big stupid idiots in Vintgae Cube, and he reanimates it. So I got him at 12. I'm winning. So with him making that body, I kind of want to bait him into hitting my Red and 6. There's 2 mana, draw a card, gain 6 life. That's fine. So I play my tapped land, draw my Verdant Catacombs by Red and 6ing, and I'm trying to bait him into hitting it. And he goes ahead and hits him. So that adds an entire turn to my clock, kind of. So he takes a turn off in stock ups, which is going to give me an opportunity to set up some sort of defense. Reanimate does bring him to 12, which I joke means I'm winning. But that means, maybe I can Chocobo Leopard, somehow cheese out this win if I can shoot him for 12 before he can hit me 3 times with this triple menace crazy creature. So I draw Reflexes, which can help me fight his troll. And mana just isn't working out for me to be able to Leopard and Chocobo. So I choose to put my counters on the Hierarch because I'm trying to cheese him out this game. He's at 12. I can do this, get in for 3, put him at 9. Maybe somehow get in, do it again, get him to 0 before he can hit me 3 times. Go ahead and run out the Safekeeper just to be mana efficient, and then also I can give my creatures protection, if that's what it comes down to. So bring him to 9. We kind of have each other on 3-turn clocks, so it's going to be about who can close it first. Now, this Chocobo is going to be super good with this Leopard because it'll just double the first trigger, which will just make it automatically put a counter, then double. Let's see what opponent can pull off here. He hits me down to 12, 2-turn clock, and just passes. So that's scary. First things first, got to play the bird so that I can play the land after and get double triggers. Counter draw. That is fine. Obviously, I would have rather just had the Chocobo, but card's good. Draw Omnath, which is interesting. Obviously, I can't cast it this turn, so it's play the fetch. I put it on my Hierarch because I'm wanting to attack with only 1 creature anyway to keep it exalted. So now, I attack and get the exalted trigger. And then if I were to Legolas's and untap it and then tap it again for mana, it could shoot his troll. So I'm kind of looking into if I want to do that. But I could only hit it for 4, not 5, because I couldn't double trigger. So I end up just passing back here. But again, having Safekeeper up and Legolas's Reflexes up, I feel pretty good about the situation I'm in, even though he has me dead next turn. Omnath might be able to gain me some life. Plays Bronco as a blocker, and then just passes. So 3 mana up is scary, and we draw Strip Mine. So importantly, that's just a land. So Omnath is going to be the first play, draw a card, and then if I play Strip Mine, I'll go up to 10, which is interesting because then I'm not on the clock with the troll. That buys me an extra turn. So he fetches out an untapped land, and he tries to kill my Omnath. So I decide to save my Omnath with Safekeeper. I'm not using these lands anyway. This game is going to be won or lost on this turn. Um, he does have Delirium, I checked, but we're going to go ahead and protect the Omnath. So when I play this land, it'll go up to 10. Fetch land. So now I can do all sorts of cub things. I can delay a fetch until next turn if I want to gain even more life. I decided to have Legolas's reflexes up because then I can use it to kill the blocker and get in for lethal this turn. So I think about it and decide, go ahead and chuck it in. 7 is more than 6, so I'm not dead. I get to play my big stupid idiot just off Omnath mana, and then I can reflexes. I'm thinking here how I want to do it. Like declare attackers, get the exalted, untap it, but he concedes before I'm given the opportunity. 7 life was so much more than 6 there, and he just didn't think he could beat it. I say he, I don't know. Stands great. Has Birds of Paradise on 1, has Mox, has just all sorts of different things. So, turn 1 Bird, no need to run out the Mox. Both of these lands are useful. Again, we're just kind of afraid of this Reanimator deck. Who knows what they can pull off. And they have the best card in Reanimator, in Entomb. And they Entomb the best reanimation target in Archon. So the Troll makes me think they don't have it. If you have Exile, you just play it. So they go get land. Their lands are great. And then they reanimate the Archon. My deck does not have a way to fight through this Archon. So I'm just going to go ahead, not show him Mox, not show him Wasteland. It's a good reason not to play those cards on 1. This sideboard I will show you, I decided to bring in Aether Spellbomb in order to be able to combat the Archon if it does come up. I'm just going to take out the 4/4 Haze for 4. If the game comes down to that, I'm already winning. Either they're going to kill me with huge beaters that they reanimate, or they're not. And then this hand's just beautiful. Turn 1, I get to fast spawn. I'm going to take a bunch of damage on turn 1, but it's really about being faster than this Reanimator deck. Even if they do turn 1 something stupid good, I'm set up, I have recall into Omnath. Like, I get to cast Omnath next turn before playing any lands, and I can play as many lands as I want. And I'm recalling. So, sequencing is kind of important here. I'm going to go ahead and play the Omnath, draw the card. Then play the Trop, get the life, play the recall, hopefully hit at least another land, and be able to cast something cheap. I didn't. Oh no, I fizzled. I'm in terrible shape. But yeah, any fetch land is just insane. I get to go play fetch, get it back with Wrenn and 6. Exhuming out the 6/5 triple menace. Not scary against what we're looking at here. So I think for a second, am I playing the power doubler and playing land and trying to do just like attack with Omnathing at a trade? No, I value my Omnath more highly than that. Wrenn and 6 doesn't have any targets in my yard. The Baloth doesn't have any fetch lands or strips to start getting its counters down. So, I take a second really to think. Probably I'm going to lead off with Birds of Paradise as at least one of my plays because having mana is good. Then I also play the Baloth because it just makes drawing fetches even better. And also on it are stun counters, so the earlier I play it, the earlier I can start, untapping and attacking with the 10/10. And am offering the Omnath trade because at this point fetches are already crazy good for me. I'm not blocking. So I use the Exalt trigger to go ahead and offer the trade. My board is very ahead. I just want to make sure that I stay ahead. Stock up, dream turn for me. So on my next turn, again, it's going to come down to what I draw. The activated ability here will let me sacrifice lands for 4, and then I could get them back with Ren and 6 and do some stuff. So I get a way to play yards from the lands from the yard, which is fine, but I decide to go the sacrifice lands, get them back with the Ren and 6 route. So I get a 4/4, I gain 2 life, which is fine for 4 mana. Then I'm going to go ahead and play the Ren and 6 and get back the land that I just sacrificed. And now I kind of have this loop presented where every turn I can do that once. The land isn't quite, or I can do it twice, but then I will actually be going down the land if I do it twice because I can only get 1 land back with Ren and 6. But, just making 4/4s every turn is a clock against a reanimator deck that does seem to be fumbling. They thought Scour themselves and do not hit Archon or anything else scary. So now I need to start thinking, when do I play this power doubling creature? Do I play it next turn? Because if I do, I don't get my Bailiff loop thing going. Just because the mana isn't quite there for it. Because I can pay 4, sack a land, get it back, then I'll only have 3. But I can play the land to have 4, and then play my land doubler, but then I don't have any lands to play. He plays 3/2 blocker. I just do not care in the world of 4/4s and 10/10s. Trying to just see if there's a way to do it all. If I draw a land, it becomes easy. I play the Edge of Eternity's card, play the land, double the beast, use the 4 that I have, sack a land, get it back, have the land to play next turn, and I'm just in good shape. So he Imperial Seals, which means that his next turn is probably scary. And I draw a cub. So this makes sequencing a little harder. It kind of cements that I'm not playing the power doubler. I'm gonna go ahead and do the thing, get the land back, play the cub. And I kind of learned from game 1 when I was putting my counters on the Hierarch instead of on the cub that I really wish I was putting them on a creature with trample. So this game, I'm going to start, even though the beast can get in now, I'm going to start putting the counters on the creature with trample. So that if it ever becomes an 8/8 or a 10/10, that it's getting through. So he chumps, fine. But just kind of on board, I have really close to 15. And facing that 15, opponent concedes. So going into match 2, going in with a blind opponent with Lutri. Lutri is just free, but I almost never play it and have it be relevant. His hand is a little slow, but I keep on the back of birds into leopard or into cub, where I get double cub trigger. So I kind of have a 4/4 cub on 2, and then I can have like a 6/6 cub. And then I draw a Hierarch, which I can play off of the fetch land. So kind of painful mana base, but I am accelerating and making a threat here. So I guess not painful, we're playing vintage. I get to get a original duel. So I have a 4/4 trample, and then I have Titania in hand to get back the fetch if I draw any kind of land. And we went ahead and did it. So Not only did we draw any kind of land, we drew strip, so we get to double strip them here. Or we don't, because we have to use it to cast. So I get tithed. Hey, I will never be mad about getting tithed. You know, you got me. Hit him 5, 15, 6, exalted. Don't touch my thing. And we got loot coming up. I think loot is great. Very fun card. Just draw cards, deal some damage, just 6 hasting power, you know. And I have the strip mine hanging out with my Bailiff card in hand. I kind of have the world here. I was a little aggressive doing the Titania there, but I'm in a state where it seems hard for me to lose the game. Gets passed back to me, draw a land, fine. Now that we know how interactive they are, I would rather keep my loot. So we're going to play the Bailiff, holding up strip mine. If it resolves, we insta-strip mine, probably their colonnade. Get a 4/4, gain some life. But let's see what happens here. Mana drain. Yikes. You know, anything could happen next turn now. So we are just going to go ahead and pull the strip on the colonnade. And we're going to get in with the cub for 7. So they're dead next turn if they don't do something. They have 6 mana. You know, they should do something. Demonic Tutor. They should do something, you know. Tons of mana available. And they wrath. So I am in bad shape now. I have 3 lands and nothing going. They have 7 life. I feel like they are short on lands. You know, maybe the Safekeeper can go coast to coast. I might as well play it. I'm recording. Yeah, play it out. They haven't shown me anything proactive, and they continue not to show me anything proactive. So I'm going to go ahead and dink them for a damage. 6-turn claw. You know, we're gonna pull it off. This is my first YouTube video, and if you're somehow still watching at this point, please tell me what you like or don't like. My editing will get better. My pacing will. I probably won't do these retroactive voiceovers anymore. But we draw a land, and that means it's loot time. So we're going to just attempt to slam the loot and win the game. If it resolves, we win. It does not resolve. We do not win. So, fine. Leyline Binding coming in to take out my Safekeeper. And I'm just going to keep it around, you know. My curve kind of tops out at 4 or 5. You know, I don't need all these lands. All my threats are, you know, Omnath, Ren and 6, lots of low cost cards. And then Jace. And I go to concede, but he does not brainstorm. And then I draw Omnath. So Fate Sealing me was not the move there. Draw Omnath. I now have a lethal body in play in Omnath and Safekeeper up against removal. So when you play this, you need to brainstorm. And again, he goes for the Fate Seal. And you know, I'm checking the log to see what he does. Left it on top, I'm pretty sure. I get a Surveil here. The Surveil's not important because he's shown that they will Fate Seal. I'll leave it on top. You know, it's something I could see them Fate Sealing away. And then I also don't actually care about the card. And now we're just going for lethal. You know, Cryptic does not target a creature, but no fears. We will play another 4/4 for 4. So we now have 2 4/4s for 4 in play. Safekeeper, and this was a game where we had nothing, and I hovered over concede. But somehow we have drawn perfectly through Fate Sealing. Opponent, for the first time, does brainstorm off Jace. You should always be brainstorming off Jace. But we are pretty set other than another Wrath. Toxic Deluge doesn't do it. Targeted removal doesn't do it. One blocker doesn't do it. Ugin should exile, but it just doesn't. So I said I was low on Safekeeper, and I was. However, Safekeeper single-handedly won this game by blanking a couple removal spells. They're at 7. I have 9 power on board, which I am noting here. And I was seeing if they were going to be mean in the comments. They were not. So I'm playing against some kind of control-ish deck. Wrath of God is in play, so don't overextend. But this is a fine hand. It's not great. Lets me just make a big cub is what it does. It's a very big cub. So I would say this hand is probably fine against control. Just hit him some more. Bird's so interesting. I end up going bird over cub. And it gets bolted. So that makes me very happy I went for bird over cub. And that just means next turn I get to cub fetch. However, I draw fast bond. So plans change. So we play the non-fetch, we play the cub, and then we get to fetch for hedge maze if I want, but it gets reprieved. I don't need to run out of the fetch here. I have fast bond, and I'd rather be getting my land triggers. So tap land from opponent is fine. Next turn, we should just start with cub and see what happens. Vindicate fast bond. It's fine. The drawing of wasteland just means I'm going to wasteland them. I'm going to probably take them off black. And then I get Ren 6. So play Chocobo. So I can start doubling my ETBs. My longer term plan is to start Ren 6 in Wastelands. But let's see what opponent has for me here. Counter draw. Fine. Cub's going to hit you for a bunch of damage here. We need to make sure we have red for this Ren 6. So we're going to get the red triumph, hopefully, if I played right. Go ahead and get the red triumph. I'm so good at Magic. And then we just get to schmack here, down to 11. Drawing a fetch land here, I can play the power doubler, fetch, and just really do some good stuff. But I get Leyline Bound. No bad shape. Fine. Backup plan, Wasteland. See if he has removal. I got some mana up in case he has the pay 2 more for your spell card. And I also fetch in the yard if I get bored of wastelanding. So we're gonna wasteland the Triome, kind of just cause it taps for the most colors. I couldn't take them off of any individual color here. I will continue to target black followed by red, just try to take them off colors when I can. But let's see what counterplay there is. Lutri to hand probably means you're dead. And then I draw Titania, which is just super fun. So I'm thinking about ordering here, but it's best for me to Titania first, because then I'll get 2 5/3s. But I get to take all their lands. Because I get to get this back, Wasteland, make a 5/3, get Wasteland back again, make another 5/3, and that's just too much. So 2-0 going into match 3. This is for the trophy. Another revealed companion, this time it's Luris, who is a little scarier. First hand was not keepable. This hand is keepable. It's just on the edge. We're going to go ahead and ship the tap land, and we're going to start with just a Birds of Paradise. No need to play Mox to go down cards. I might end up just wanting to have lands in hand. But the Spring Heart is going to be nice. So I didn't mentally note that the companion was Luris. I assumed it was Lutri again. So I'm now being shocked that it's Luris. So all cheap spells. Here's interesting. I can Mox the Boseiju to play the Spring Heart and get the landfall. Or I can just play a 4/4 trample. And you know, sometimes it's better just to play a 4/4 trample than it is to try to do anything cutesy. And hit me all you want, make the cat all you want. You are at 14 life points. The plan now is going to be to bestow this 4/4 trampler and play some lands and make some more 4/4 trample. Pretty simple game plan. Blue white is not what I would expect out of a Luris deck. I'd expect, red white. Preordain is an interesting play. But hits me, gains a life, gets a cat, all the good stuff. So land is the best draw, and not only did we get land, we got fetch land. We're gonna go ahead and bestow, and then we're gonna play this land, and we're gonna do good stuff. But opponent incorrectly concedes to the bestow, which I'll take. I didn't have it. I could have not had lands, If I didn't draw that land, I probably would have still bestowed, and the concede there would have been wrong. So this hand is just like, I know that I have the Strip Mine, and that always makes Strip Mine better. I have the Hierarch, and that'll let me cast some stuff. But he, again, turn one's cats, which is just rough. So the plan is really to draw an untapped green source. So I will continue to play to the ability to draw an untapped green source. So plays the wall, gets in for 1, makes a cat, and I drew an untapped green source. So get myself the Taiga, play myself the Hierarch. And I got this sneaky mutagenic growth in my hand. If I'm him, I attack. And I'm gonna go for it. I get blown out by a kill spell here. I need that Hierarch. But now I get to red and 6 for my Strip Mine, and I win the game just instantly. So that is how you play Vintgae Cube. I open my treasure chests, so let's see what I get. But again, if you watched it all, please tell me how I could make my videos better, and just leave comments. So I got 25 play points. That's profit. Good stuff. So thank you, like and subscribe, and all those words. So cool.